Hi, my name is Jessica, and I will be covering the time and rank regression portion of this presentation. First, we will begin with the time regression. The video game sales slope trend line indicates the video game sales for over time are at an average rate of sales over a specific period. The line shows clear sales momentum of how quickly sales are increasing, decreasing, or remaining consistent. The decade that appears to be the strongest is the slope of a trend line in the video game sales chart, which indicates an increasing rate of growth over time and shows a positive outlook in the long run. The positive slope means that despite some short setbacks, the overall volume and revenue of the video game industry are heading in a positive direction over the long term. Filtering by platform does change the trend because of the different platforms, which can often have distinct user behavior, demographics, and content type, leading to adapting data trends. The video is now showing how we completed these steps. Now we will begin with the rank regression portion of this presentation. The R-square value measures how well a trend line fits the data ranging from 0 to 1, with higher values indicating a better fit. It represents the proportion of variance in the dependent variable explained by the independent variable. As we can clearly see, the relationship between rank and sales is strong. Finally, the relationship makes business sense because it drives growth through mutual value, increasing productivity, and shared risk taking. Moreover, it can build trust and foster long term sustainability through shared mutual values. This results is higher customer satisfaction, reliability, higher integration, and efficient collaboration. And we can clearly see through the video. I will let it go ahead and show the demonstration on how. Uh,
Now we're going to build the platform proportion view, and we start by creating a new sheet and naming it platform proportion. Then we drag the platform dimensions to the row shelf, which will list each platform vertically, and we drag the global cells to the column shelf, making sure that it's aggregated as a sum. Right away, we can see a horizontal bar to show these as proportions. Instead of row totals, we right click the sum of global cells, go down to quick table calculation and choose percent of total. Now the bars should display each platform percentage of overall cells, with PS2 clearly standing out as the leader with the longest bar. For better readability, we had assorted that in ascending order, and PS2 moved to the top with the highest proportion, followed by X360, PS3, Wii, and DS. Since those few platforms take up a very large proportion of the total market, this shows that the sales are concentrated around a handful of major consoles. And a quick note on the platform proportion, if you were to add a top end filter, like limiting the top 10 platforms, the percentages would automatically recalculate to show shares only among those top ones, making each bar appear larger relative to the filter total. For example, PS2 slice would increase because we're no longer including smaller platforms in the denominator. To switch over to the tree map, on a new sheet for the publisher tree map, we would set the mark to map and drag publisher to the label mark. This would group rectangles by the publisher. We also drag some of global cells to the size and color mark, and the rectangles should scale accordingly. So Nintendo's massive rectangle here highlights how significantly it outperforms everyone else, with higher total sales than Electronic Arts, Activision, Sony Computer Entertainment, or Ubisoft. And the color intensity also adds another layer. Darker or more saturated areas indicate stronger performance density, with publishers like Nintendo showing deeper intensity because their titles generate higher sales on average compared to the other ones. To make this even more interactive, we also added filters. We dragged the publisher to the filter shelf, and this showed it as a multiple value dropdown or checkboxes that lets us select one or more publishers at a time to focus a tree map on those specific ones. For example, zooming in on just Nintendo or comparing it to between different players. We can also add a single value filter for something like platform or region if it was needed, which we will do here. And this would snap the information to one selection and update the view density. And this would be great for things like drilling down information about one single value without all the clutter. For example, here we can choose one single value from the platform Dropbox. And next, we just went ahead and reapplied the platform filter to make sure that all the data is included on the multiple value filter. So here on the video, we're just gonna show how we removed the platform filter and reapplied it. Okay, so now that we went ahead and reapplied the platform filter to make sure that all the data was included on the multiple value filter, we would apply the filter to all the worksheets using this data source. And this would be helpful because now any selection that we make on the platform, like choosing only PS2, would automatically update not just on this tree map, but also on the platform proportion bars and on any other related views in the dashboard. And it also keeps everything consistent. So you can just quickly explore how cells look for a specific console across different angles like proportions or publishers without resetting filters manually each time. Now we're going to move on to the dashboard.
With the dashboard will combine all of the different worksheets that we need in one place and we'll connect them together. So we are adding the time regression, the rank regression, the platform proportion, and the publisher tree map together on one page. And then we are adding a platform filter and the top end games parameter as well, just so that we can filter what we need within the dashboard. I personally would like to use just the tree map as I see that it shows the global sales very easily. You can determine which one had more global sales than the other. You can also see that the dashboard is able to, using the tree map filter, the dashboard changes as you choose the different options, the different publishers and platforms that are available. With the tree map, you definitely see that Nintendo does dominate in global sales with a total of $715.6 million in sales. But I think one thing that would be helpful to include in the entire workbook would be where those sales are coming from. That way the company could use not just where the larger sales are coming from so that they can kind of cut back on some of the marketing if they don't need to, but also where they're not selling any or very little so they can really reach out to those places and where they should be putting their money in for marketing and advertising and how they can find a way to get into that area of the world or that market. I think that would be very helpful to have as part of this presentation. And I believe that is going to show everything that we have today. So I appreciate you listening and watching our video. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Tableau and how this all works. Thank you.